How you going today, guys? Today I'm going to show you around my van. Now I'm a full-time van lifer. I've been in the van for 1 year and 3 months. So it's kind of decked out a little bit differently than if you were just a weekend user. So come on, let's take a look. Okay, so welcome to my van. It's set up a little bit differently because it's only me in the van. So I had to prioritize my lifestyle, the things that I do each day, over that of like socializing, having guests over. So as you can see, I've opted for the fixed bed design. I originally had plans to do an elevator bed, but I realized pretty quickly, living full-time in a van means that you need storage, lots of storage. And so having that fixed bed just allowed me to put everything underneath. Super easy, no hassles, I didn't have to worry. This bed is big enough to sleep in when you're on a slight angle. For shorter people, it would be fantastic. For me, I need to be on just a slight angle. But what I've ended up doing to extend my bed and to turn it into a super sort of large king size bed is I've created a little bit of an extension. So what that looks like is this. When you're in bed, you simply put one of these down, and then you can see these supports on the other side. What happens is a big piece of wood gets placed down, a big structural piece of wood, and then a piece of foam on top. I lock the wood into one side so it can't slip off, and then there you go. I've got a bed that's full size. So when I'm all done with the bed for the day, I take the support timber and the foam, put it on top of my bed, and then it becomes a couch. So one of the main features of this van is it's fully automated. So I've got the Google Home system just down here, and all I need to do is say, I want to turn on my fan if I'm in bed. Say, okay Google, turn the fan on.
Sure, turning fan on.
Okay, turn the lights off. I have this gaming PC set up. For me, it was important to have a decent computer in here. So I decided to build this desk. So I've got a bit of space to work, kind of doubles as an office space and entertainment space. So that's where I keep my computer. I kind of had to create my own little suspension system. It's a little bit tricky doing a full tower, a full gaming PC setup in a van that's getting knocked around. I basically put it on 2 cushions and then tied some straps out to provide with a little bit of shock absorption. Okay, all of these cupboards were obviously recycled pallets, and that wall, the main wall on this side, all recycled pallets. The main feature of this wall is that inside it's really well insulated. It's very well sealed. And this door, which would normally be hollow, a door that I've made, I've filled with insulation as well. So this whole wall is designed to keep the heat from the cabin out of the van. So over here we have my 70-litre water tank and just a bit more storage. It's always handy. Also this microwave, that's been really handy. So I don't have a kettle. I found that just by using a microwave, I'm able to save space, I'm able to cook a lot of my meals, but also just heat up water every day for a cup of coffee, and it's more efficient that way. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is my kitchen sink and my dishes rack. So this is an idea I had a while ago when I thought about getting a tiny house, is that in a tiny house, I only have one bowl, one cup, and one knife, one fork, etc. So I don't really need much space to store the gear. And so the quickest way that I thought of to do this is, once I've washed my dish, I put it up in the drying rack, once it's been washed and rinsed, and it will just drain there. I don't need to sit there and dry it. I don't need to worry about having dishes that are loose. And I can just drive from here because this is locked in really well. Another feature I want to show is this little cheap Tapo security camera that I've set up. So if anybody goes in here, the security camera goes off and alerts my phone. But one of the best ways to control this, it comes with an app, and the app's really kind of annoying to use. You have to open it up. So what I did was I just threw it on a smart switch. So I can say, okay, Google, turn the security off.
Got it. Turning off security.
Cool. And now the security's off. I can go about my day and I can ask it to go back on whenever I want. Built all of these drawers. You've just got to push to open them. When I originally built these, I thought I'm just going to put some drawers in and I'm going to do the fronts later. So I've just built the boxes. But a year and 3 months later, I haven't really had the urge to do anything about these drawers. I mean, they work quite well and they look good enough for me. This isn't really a show van. This isn't like a van that I'm building to impress people. This is a van that it's just for me. It's for how I live my life. It's all designed around how I want to live. So I never really felt the motivation to actually make these look pretty, because they just work, you know? They just work. Okay, so the big question, how do you shower and how do you go to the toilet? Well, originally I was going to build a shower system that revolved around a portable crate, and I was going to set something up here, create a big curtain, and then I'd have a shower that just packs down. But in reality, I had a gym membership. I went to the gym every single day to shower when I wasn't going to my parents' house or my sister's house. So just going to the gym, showering before work, and that just sort of did it. You know, showering in a van, it's going to take a minimum of 10 litres of water. So if I'm showering every day, I'm setting up my shower, doing all of that, I'm just going to be filling up my water too much. I'm going to be having these little ration showers. I just decided to just stick with the gyms. You can always find a shower. It's not that hard. When I'm off grid, when I'm camping, sure, I take a bucket, I heat the water up, mix it with cold water, and then I just use a cup and shower outside. That's as simple as that. How do I use the toilet? Toilets are essential for anybody who's full-time van life. I originally tried to make my own compost toilet. That was not successful. But I decided to go with the Nature's Head. And this has been the best thing that I've purchased for the van. This toilet works really, really well. It has ventilation, so it's constantly keeping air moving through the toilet, which allows for a good mixture of aerobic bacteria, and that stops all of those smells. It also dries out your waste. These toilets, absolutely fantastic, because they separate the urine and the waste and the solid waste. So inside here you just have some peat bricks, some coconut core, and it mixes up with this little foot pedal, and that's it. You probably don't need to change this thing for 6 to 8 weeks with just normal use with one person. Obviously you can change it more if desired. It's really easy to change over. It's really not that hard at all. Been super impressed with it. It doesn't smell at all. So this is the fridge freezer I decided to go with. It's the CFX DZ75 something or other. It's the dual zone 75 litre version. There's the fridge, and then you have the freezer compartment. Okay, so this is the air conditioner setup that I've decided to go with. It's a little unorthodox. What I do is I suck air from underneath the van, blow it over the cooling coils, and blow it back down underneath the van. Why have I decided to do this strange setup? Simply because my entire van is covered in solar panels and there's just nowhere for an air conditioner. So I decided to just buy a wall mount unit, build a box, and this actually works pretty great. It doesn't use a lot of power. It blows directly on me when I'm at my PC, and I'm able to run a little hose to direct the cooling air up to my bed when I need to. Bit messy, but I am a full-time van lifer. I'm not going to hide it. All of this stuff here is storage, super useful. I keep a few things on top. A bit more coconut core. Electric skateboard for getting around. Parking this thing can be an absolute nightmare in a city. So what I tend to do is I park a few streets back, sometimes up to 1 kilometre away from where I want to be. And I just use the electric skateboard to get around. It's been really handy. Okay, so in here is my battery setup. Kind of messy, I know, but for me, this works. I've got cells that I purchased from China, and these are 310 amp hour cells. I've got 8 set up in series, so total of 310 amp hours at 24 volts. That is my little electrical setup, using a lot of the Victron gear, a cheaper Giandel inverter. It's been absolutely fantastic. It is still a pure sine wave inverter. I've had no trouble at all, so I saved a bit of money on that one. Yeah, some of the Victron gear, and that's been working really nicely. Just a basic DALI BMS with Bluetooth and the app, so I can see the individual cells voltages. That's been working really well. Super happy with how the electrical system's been performing. Okay, and finally, to feed all of those batteries, we have 3 400-watt solar panels. I decided to go with 3 panels hanging over. Provides more area and more shade for the van, because in Australia, the biggest challenge I have is the heat. So it's always trying to find ways to keep the van cool. By having the panels on the top with a little bit of an air gap, it's basically like being in shade everywhere you go. It's also allowing the panels to cool down a little bit, which improves the performance of them. The reason I didn't cover the whole van in panels is because I've got a little skylight just down on this side, and that also has an external cover, so I can keep the heat out from outside rather than try to block it from inside. At the front here, I was originally going to install a cubic mini wood stove, and I may still do that, but I made it through the winter without one and it was just fine. I do live in Australia, so a cubic mini wood stove is optional. It's not essential. We don't get snow here. So yeah, so far so good, but I think I might install that before the next winter.